This video tutorial I will explain Spring Boot REST example with Java Persistent API. Here you can see database. In this example, we will use MySQL database. Here you can see Spring Boot demo application, which is microservice application, and it exposes REST endpoints for create, update, get, and delete the book details. And here you can see Postman client. Using Postman client, we will consume the web services which are exposed by Spring Boot demo application. Spring Boot provides Spring Boot Starter Data JPA to connect Spring application with relational database efficiently. And Spring Data JPA provides complete abstraction over the DAO layer. So we no need to write the implementation for DAO layer anymore. Spring Data JPA auto generates the implementation for the DAO layer. Here you can see ArcDB, and it has a book table, and currently it does not have any rows, and it has 4 columns: ID, name, author, and price. Here you can see Spring Boot demo application with folder structure, and here you can see pom.xml. Here you can see application.properties file. Here I have defined a driver class name, URL of the database, username and password of the database. Using this information, the Spring Boot application makes connection to the MySQL database. Here I have defined a class book, and it has 4 properties: ID, name, author, and price. And in book class, I have applied entity annotation, which is used to denote this is an entity object for the table name book. ID is the primary key, so I have applied ID annotation, and also I have applied generated value annotation. So this ID value will be automatically generated by Hibernate. Here I have defined the interface book repository, which extends JPA repository, and it deals with book model, and primary key data type of book is long, and repository represents the DAO layer. The DAO layer is responsible for all the database operations, and Spring Data provides the implementation of all the database operations. And if you see, the book repository does not have any methods, because Spring Data's CRUD repository interface already declared basic CRUD methods. Here I have defined a class book not found exception, which extends runtime exception. Here I have defined a class book unsupported field patch exception, which extends runtime exception. Here I have defined a class global exception handler, which extends response entity exception handler class. And in this class, I have applied controller advice annotation. So this class is responsible for handling any exception in the Spring Boot application. Suppose say book not found exception happens, then this method is responsible for handling the exception. And in this method, I have applied exception handler annotation. And suppose book unsupported field patch exception happens, then this method is responsible for handling the exception. And in this method, I have applied exception handler annotation. Here I have defined a class book controller, which is a REST controller, and it has a create book method which accept book object, which is the request body. And to call this method, we have to send request to this path, and HTTP method is post, and this method is responsible for creating the book in the book table. Here I have defined a class book application, which is a Spring Boot application. I am starting a Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application is started in 8080 port. Using Postman client, I am going to send a create book request. Here is the URL and HTTP method is post. Click on body and we have to select raw, and I am going to send JSON. So select the JSON, and here you can see the book details in JSON format. Click on send. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. The status is 201 created, and the book detail is created in book table, and primary key is 1. Click on refresh, and here you can see one record is created in book table. Here you can see update book method, which accept book object, which is the request body, and the ID. To call this method, we have to send request to this path, and ID is the path variable, and HTTP method should be put. This method is responsible for update the book details based on the given ID. If ID is not present in the database, then this method will create new record in the book table. Next, I am going to send update request. I am going to update the first row with the primary key 1. Method should be put. Send the request. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. The status code is 200 OK, and the first record with the primary key is updated. Click on refresh, and here you can see the updated details. Next, I am passing ID as 0. Click on send. Request reaches here. With the ID 0, there is no record is there. So this method will create one record in book table. Here we got the output, and here you can see one new record is created with the primary key 2. Click on refresh, and here you can see one more record is created. Here you can see get book method, which accept ID, and to call this method we have to send request to this path. Here ID is the path variable, and HTTP method should be get. This method is responsible for getting the book details based on the given ID. Next, I am going to send get request. and ID I am passing as 1 and HTTP method is get. Click on send. The request reaches here. Here we got the output. Next I will pass ID as 10. With ID 10, there is no record in the book table. Click on send. The request reaches here and ID is 10. With the ID 10, there is no record in the book table. So it will throw book not found exception. And book not found exception is handled by this method. And it returns the status code not found. Here we got the output. Here we got status code 404, which is not found. Here you can see get all books method, and to call this method we have to send request to this path, and HTTP method is get. This method is responsible for getting all books details from the book table. Next I am going to send a request to get all the books from the book table. Here is the URL and method is get. Click on send. The request reaches here. Here we got the output. We got array of book objects in JSON format. There are two records are there. We got two book objects in JSON format. Here you can see delete book method which accept ID. To call this method, we have to send request to this path. Here ID is the path variable and HTTP method is delete. This method is responsible for deleting the book record for the given ID. Next I am going to send delete request and passing ID as 2 and HTTP method should be delete. Click on send. Request reaches here. And here we got the output. Status is 200 OK. And here you can see one record is deleted. Here you can see update book author method which accept map. Map is the request body and the ID. To call this method, we have to send request to this path. Here ID is the path variable and HTTP method should be patch. This method is responsible for updating the author field of the book for the given ID. And other than author field, if you send any other field, then it will throw book unsupported field patch exception. Next I am going to send update the author information. ID I am passing as 1. Method as patch. Author I am changing as Peter. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. The author is updated. Click on refresh, and here you can see author is updated as Peter. Next, I am trying to update the name. This method can only update author field. If any other field, if you are trying to update, it will throw this exception. And this exception is handled by this method. And it will throw method not allowed error code to the caller. Here we got the output, and we got status code as 405, method not allowed. You can get Java source code link for each video in the description section of the video. Here you can see the description section. Click on show more, and here you can see the Java source code links. Click on these links to get the Java source code.